Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about fire pits, and we'd like to thank Dave Miller for liking and sharing the podcast. There's archaeological evidence of fire pits going back over 200,000 years.
Say fire.
In South America, and they found pits surrounded by stone to keep a fire in place and prevent it from spreading. Pretty wild, huh? 200,000 years ago. Chimeneas are these freestanding fire pits, and they're made out of clay in Mexico, and those go back about 400 years. And then the early colonists and settlers, they used the Dakota Fire Pit, or the fire hole, and so they would remove the grass and soil in a 12-inch circle and then save it so they could cover the hole later. They would dig down 1 foot, so you have this 1 foot wide circle, you dig down 1 foot, and then a foot away you would dig this slanting hole that's 6 inches wide that it would intersect with the bottom of this first hole you made, so you're creating an air shaft. And so this is drawing air down into this hole, so you build your fire inside this hole, and it produces a
first hole or the second hole?
The bigger hole, and you're producing this really hot flame. You don't have to use a lot of wood to get a really hot flame. And then they would take green twigs and go over the top of this so that they could set a pot or something to cook off of. It creates heat, but the key thing out west is it creates very little smoke, and you can't see the fire from a distance.
Wow.
So you wouldn't get attacked by Indians. And then you could fill that hole and put the sod back on, and no one would know you were even there.
Wow. Sneaky.
With fire pits, you can get portable and permanent. Some are very portable. Some are kind of heavy.
Less portable?
Even though it says it on the box. You can get from very small, 20 to 25 inches, up to large, 45 inches. But you should really check with your village before you get a large one, because there's some restrictions in different communities. And you can get wood-burning, propane, natural gas, gel, and ethanol. And then you can also get some fire pits that allow you to use charcoal for either just heating or grilling. But I would check your owner's manual, because some models say only use dry seasoned hardwood, no charcoal briquettes, lump charcoal, or manufactured logs. With wood fire pits, you get the atmosphere of burning logs, so you have the heat, the flame, the sound, and the smell of wood. And then when you're picking wood, you want something that's been seasoned for at least 6 months. You don't want to use crates or pallets, composite or treated wood, because they can release toxins. And then use logs that are split and less than 3/4 of the diameter of the pit. With propane fire pits, some of them use the same 20-pound tank that you use on a propane grill, or you can get the small 2.5-pound cylinders. And with this, you can adjust the flame, very easy to start and stop. You don't have the cleanup of ash and soot, and then you can get these portable or permanent. You can also use natural gas. So with this, you'd run a gas line from your home, and then this would go to a permanent fire pit. So you've got the convenience that you're always ready, and you don't have to run out for wood or a propane tank. You can get gel fire pits, and this uses a gel fire fuel. So these are small canisters that you shake, then you take the lid off and you light it with a lighter or a match, and it's a mixture of isopropyl alcohol, water, and thickeners to form a gel. They add salt to this so it makes a crackling sound like burning logs. And then the flames actually can get up to 8 inches high, last 2 to 3 hours per canister. It burns very clean, it doesn't produce soot or smoke. And then you can get this long-handled tool with a flat metal end to smother the flame. Then you can recap that canister and reuse it.
So are these like tabletop ones?
So you can get tabletop just for the look, or you can actually get one that looks like a fire pit with legs on it, you know, like kind of that walk shape. And then they have a holder where you can put either 2 or 4 of these canisters, and it's filled with either lava rocks or fake logs or decorative stone. And then the flames, once you light it, go around all this, and it looks like a regular fire pit.
Interesting.
You can get ethanol or bioethanol. So this is alcohol that you're going to pour into pots or trays.
So it comes in a liquid?
Yes. And then once you fill these containers, some of them are adjustable so you can adjust the flame. And you're just going to light this with a long match or a lighter. It burns very clean. In fact, some of these are rated for inside.
Really?
Which is crazy. Most of these are going to be tabletop, and the flame itself is actually very sensitive to wind, so a lot of these are going to have glass shields to kind of protect them.
So it's more decorative?
Right. There's a few key styles with the fire pits. So you can get a fire bowl, so it has the look of a Chinese wok with legs.
Right.
And that with those, you can really see the logs, so it really gives you that campfire feel. And then there's a cauldron style, so like a pot. So it's round or square with legs. And many of the cauldron styles are going to have decorative cutouts on the side, so you can get better ventilation. It's going to give off the heat. You can kind of see the fire through the sides when you have the cutouts. And most of these are going to be fairly portable. So if you're planning on taking it on trips, make sure you consider the weight and the size. So if you're just using this on your patio, but you want to move it back and forth, some of the heavier ones have 2 wheels, so you can pick it up by 2 legs
nice.
and move it around. And the styles, if you're burning wood, you'd want to get something that's going to have a mesh cover to stop sparks from flying around. If you want to grill off your pit, you'd want to get a model with a grill grate or rotisserie.
What are you grilling on a fire pit?
Well, some of
besides,
these,
like, s'mores?
some of the big bowl-shaped ones, you put a grill right on the top of it, and so it's almost like that Dakota fire hole, where you have the fire down low, and then you can put your grate on top of it, and so you can grill right off the top.
Well, I guess if you're going camping, this is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. So you've got 2 things. So you can either have like the campfire, or you can cook off it.
It's 2 things in one, JC.
If you're looking for warmth from your fire pit, it can actually throw quite a bit of heat, and so you'd want to look at the BTUs. And a BTU stands for the British Thermal Units. It's a unit of energy able to heat 1 pound of water.
Wow, I never knew what that stood for.
And so to compare them, so if you were going to buy a patio heater, let's say you're going to buy a propane, just strictly a heater,
right?
Most of these are rated at 40,000 BTUs, and the manufacturers claim that these patio heaters are going to raise the temperature 10 to 20 degrees, 15 feet from the heater, which is pretty amazing. So if you want to look and compare, you can kind of use that idea of 40,000 BTUs as something that's actually going to generate quite a bit of heat.
Right.
Another style fire pit is a fire ring, and so this is just a round galvanized steel ring to contain your wood. Usually comes in 4 sections, and you put it together with nuts and bolts, and you just set this on the ground, you stack wood in the center and light it.
So it's just more permanent, I would say.
Well, you're definitely destroying all the grass in that area, and so most people what they're going to do is they're either going to remove the sod and then fill that area with sand and throw their firewood on it, and then you've got an area where you're just going to have like a campfire. You can also use landscape brick to build a fire pit in your backyard. So most people are going to remove the grass, dig down a couple of inches, replace that with sand, and then stagger landscape stone in either a circular or square shape. And you can buy liners for inside the fire pit and then build right against that, which gives you some structure. A lot of people then add another 4 inches of sand that's going to lift up the wood so you get more heat and you can see the flame. And then I would always get a screen to block sparks on top of that. You can also get fire pit tables. So these are great for patios. And this sets up higher off the ground. It has a surface all the way around the flame part, the pit part. So you can put your feet up on this or food. And some of these are going to come with a cover. So you can cover the fire pit area so you've got a full table for entertaining if you're not using the fire. And then the fire pit tables, they're generally using propane, so you have the tank underneath the table, and then you have controls to adjust the flame. But you can also get wood burning. And then I've seen some of these styles with the table section, it spins around like a Lazy Susan. So that's pretty cool. And then some of these, the pit areas filled with colored fiberglass. And so that propane flame, it works its way up through the glass and just really makes kind of an interesting look.
My uncle has one of these. It's super cool.
Yeah, well, there's a wide variety of shapes and styles, so I would definitely go online and take a look at it. And then when you're looking at these, look at the material and the warranty. An interesting rectangular fire pit I saw is the Real Flame Gas Fire Table. So this is 24 inches wide and 46 inches long, and it looks like a coffee table.
Yeah, you showed it to me.
Covered with lava rocks and flames. And it's 50,000 BTUs.
Wow.
So this is throwing some heat. So they're saying a 20-pound propane tank on full will last 9 hours, and then it will last 26 hours on low. And with this one, it has an 8-foot hose that's going off to your propane tank. If you have a paver patio, you can buy paver or stone fire pit kits. So, for example, I saw one, it's called Necessaries Grand Fire Pit. It's 48 inches wide. It's 3-tier concrete block fire pit. It comes with all the blocks. You get a 12 by 21 inch cooking grate that comes on a swivel. You get a steel insert, the adhesive. They even throw gloves in there for you.
Wow.
And then you can buy accessories. So you can get a spark screen or a cover to cover it. And this is what's used by the U.S. National Park Service. If you're going to be building a paver patio, you can incorporate a fire pit right into your design. And there's a lot of plans online you can get. Most of the pros are recommending that you build it around an insert, and then if you're going to be doing grilling with this also, to make sure that you check out all the accessories and then match that to whatever size you're building.
Right.
Another style is a chimenea, and so this is a fire pit with a chimney.
Right, and it looks like a potbelly stove.
Yeah, it kind of has that look. So the original styles had one opening on the bottom, so on that round part before that narrow chimney that goes up. But these new styles, they come in a variety of shapes. Some of these have screen siding all the way around, so it's going to throw heat in all directions.
Interesting.
And then I saw one chimenea that was shaped like a bear. So the classic chimneys, they're clay, and they can crack over time, or if you're in a very cold area, so I would be aware of that. I would get kiln dried. It's going to be more durable than air dried. And then if you go to a metal chimenea, they're going to last the longest. And then some are built for charcoal and grilling. Some are even designed for pizzas.
Ooh,
so I would take a look at the features before I buy. You can get fire pits in cast iron, which is very strong. It's going to be less expensive than other types of metal. And then depending on the thickness, some of these can be very heavy. This is going to slowly degrade over time and corrode. With copper, you've got something that's going to be very strong, looks great, long-lasting, it's corrosion-resistant, and it will not rust. And what's nice about copper is it actually conducts heat and radiates it. And then with copper, it's going to be more expensive. Steel, you've got something that's strong. It can be inexpensive depending on the thickness. And then if you get painted fire pits, you know, it's going to definitely look weathered in a couple of seasons.
Right.
So your powder coat is the best finish you can get on steel. And then you can get stainless steel for a more durable, corrosion-resistant fire pit, and that's going to be more expensive. With tabletop fire pits and chimeneas, you can get ceramic, so very resistant to heat, low maintenance. The only thing with ceramic is it can chip or crack with impact. And then aluminum is really a nice material for fire pits. Very lightweight, low maintenance, it's corrosion resistant, and it doesn't rust like iron. So aluminum forms this thin layer of aluminum oxide when it rusts, and it makes a protective coat that protects the rest of the material, so it's completely blocking out air. It's chemically similar to sapphires, so it's transparent and among the hardest substances on the planet.
Interesting.
Wild, huh? So when they anodize aluminum, they treat it with acid and electricity to form a thicker layer of this material, and so it's stronger and scratch resistant. So that's why planes are light and strong.
And hopefully not rusting.
Yeah. You know what's weird is the only thing that can rust aluminum very quickly is mercury. If you scratch the surface of aluminum and put some mercury on it, it'll actually dissolve it. It's wild.
Why would I know that?
Go online and look at mercury on aluminum. It's pretty wild. Before you buy your fire pit, I would check with the local codes to see whether you can have one, especially if you have wood. Wood's going to be, more dangerous. And with wood, a lot of local restrictions say that you can only have a 3-foot diameter and 2-foot high fire pit. It needs to be kept 15 to 25 feet away from structures or flammable material. You need to have a portable fire extinguisher handy, sand, or a garden hose. And then use only firewood in 2-foot sections or less, and you have to have a spark restrictor on top of your fire pit.
Interesting.
And then I would check your manual too for any other safety tips. Many models are not designed to be put onto wood surfaces, composite decks, grass, or asphalt because it's going to radiate too much heat.
That makes sense.
An interesting product I saw to protect decks is called Deck Protect.
Good name.
And this is a pad of volcanic rock fiber, and it's held in an aluminum tray, so it's going to block the heat, protect your wood or composite deck. And then the tray has feet on it to give it airspace, so you're not collecting moisture. And then there's a lot of different grill pads for chimeneas and fireplace, and it just protects against sparks, but not really rated for high heat.
Right.
So make sure that you're looking at the ratings on these. And then you can also build your own deck protection with stone patio tiles, and then extend it about 2 feet beyond the pit in all directions. And then only use fire pits with legs. You never want to set anything like that, directly on a patio.
So my uncle has a huge deck.
Right.
And like a quarter of it, he's got bricks on top of the deck.
Right.
And I always thought he was just a crazy person, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably because he's got his grill there and then he's got his fire pit.
Yeah, smart.
So not so crazy.
Couple of other tips. You don't want to use a wood fire pit on a windy day. You don't want low-hanging branches or any structure above the fire. And then never use gas or kerosene to light a fire. It's too dangerous, either from a spill or if you stack your wood and pour gas on there and you wait a few minutes to light it, that buildup of fumes can actually cause an explosion. And then you don't want to burn anything but firewood. You want to keep it short in length. Most manufacturers recommend 2 feet or less, or 3/4 of the length of the pit. And then use a screen to cover the pit. Have a bucket of sand ready. It's nice to have, if you're at the hardware store, grab a 5-gallon bucket with a lid and a scoop, and then fill that 3/4 of the way with sand so that you can use that for putting out a fire. And then if you need to put out a fire and you want to use a hose, or you need to use a hose, you wouldn't want it on the highest spray setting or the stream setting, because you can actually blow sparks into the air. So you'd want the wide, either a mist or shower pattern, or just use no nozzle and just use a hose without it. Also, they recommend using a fire blanket or having a fire blanket handy to smother a flame if it gets out of control.
Who knew?
If you're picking up a fire extinguisher to have and you're using it for your wood fire pit, you'd want a Class A fire extinguisher. So this is going to put out wood and paper and any ordinary combustible material. The Class Bs put out flammable liquids like grease, gas, oil, kerosene. Class C is for electrical fires. So for wood, you can either get a water type A, or you can get a multi-purpose dry chemical, and that's going to be multi-purpose for A, B, and C fires. Or you can get a foam AB, and you would never want to use a type A water on any flammable liquids or electrical fires. So the A rating is the water equivalent. So each A is about 1 1/4 gallons worth of water. So if you see a fire extinguisher rated 4A, it's about 5 gallons of water.
Interesting.
To start a wood fire, you can use kindling or lint from your clothes dryer, since it's ridiculously flammable. You can use fat wood, so this is a natural resin pine wood.
So this is like shredded wood, right?
Yes, and it lights fast and it burns hot. We also saw, at a couple of the hardware shows, we saw Dragon in a Box. So this is wax and paper fiber chips. They're all regularly shaped, and these will light even if it's wet. And they come in this box that looks like a Chinese food box.
Right.
So you light this, it burns hot.
You actually light the box.
Right, and then they light, and then it burns for about 15 minutes to start your wood. We also saw stump chunks. So this is the real wood. It's the stumps of the trees. They use what's above and below ground, and because it's so dense, the roots, it burns very hot, it burns long, and it's just an easy way to start a fire.
Interesting.
Another interesting new product we saw is Timber Tote. So it's TIMBERTOTE. And rather than buying a bundle of split logs, this is one solid pre-cut log. It has a hole in the center of the top that goes almost all the way in, and then on the side it has a small hole on the bottom. So almost like the Dakota fire hole. And it comes with a fire starter. So you light this fire starter, you drop it in the hole. So you set it on its end, and so the main hole is up on the top. You drop this fire starter in, and then you've got the secondary hole down low that allows air to come in for combustion. And so this thing will burn 2 to 3 hours. And so you've just got one log. So it's really good for if you're going out camping, you've got one thing, or you can use it in your fire pit.
Nice. What are some top-rated companies?
So you've got Landman, it's LANDMANN, Real Flame, Blue Rhino. So Blue Rhino is a propane distributor, so they have the 20-pound tanks. They also have a really nice line of fire pits that are rated very high. Uniflame is one of their brands, so it's made by Blue Rhino. Sunjo is interesting. So Sunjo makes snow blowers and lawnmowers.
And apparently fire pits?
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Nice.
You know who else makes a wide selection of fire pits?
Oh, I can't wait.
Christopher Knight, the actor who was Peter Brady. And then there's quite a few companies that were rated very high, but these were some of the top.
Do you have anything else to add?
I would say take a little time and shop online because it's just amazing the different styles they have now. And they have anything from tabletop for a look to table size. And then do you want dual use? So are you going to be using this for heat output? Are you going to be cooking on it? If you're building a paver patio, I would look at some of the kits and plans online so you can incorporate it into your design. And then I really like these propane fire pit tables. So if you have a composite or wood deck, it's much safer, and then you've got somewhere to put your feet. And then these gel and ethanol, very small, easy to care for. It sets a mood. If you don't, if you don't need heat and you just want a nice look, they're very convenient.
Right.
And then they're clean. I would check my local codes first before I buy anything. Get a fire extinguisher, and never use these on a boat.
You could also buy covers for these.
Right, yeah, smart. I would. Yeah, especially some of these are very decorative and expensive.
Right.
So I would definitely get a cover.
Let's wrap this up.
You can now subscribe to our podcast on iHeartRadio,
Oh, so exciting.
Stitcher, iTunes, the Spotify mobile app, and the Google Play Music app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our book, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.